Well, of course, a government very much on its last legs, a Prime Minister who must know really his chances of being there much longer in that role are pretty slim. And so, of course, just as you saw with the Remainer campaign against Brexit, what you're likely to see now and what you are seeing really from Labour and from the government are an increasingly desperate state of attacks on reform that are going to get more and more loopy the more and more desperate Labour get, of course, with the Gorton and Denton by-election on the horizon and the big set of May elections. And that all means you're going to get, as I said, even more scaremongering nonsense. It really is interesting, by the way, to analyse, the sort of outpouring of reaction to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe had to say compared to the very, very real and severe threats we are now facing as a country.
He's also said that you've mentioned about being a supporter of ISIS.
No, I don't answer this question.
Are you a supporter of ISIS?
Do you want to answer? Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
No, I don't tell you anything. They are Muslim. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, they are Muslim.
What is it about them that you support?
They are Muslim. They make Sharia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make Sharia.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a difference between ISIS and some other people who say they're Muslims?
Yeah, they're all Muslims. They are hypocrite, but the ISIS, they are real Muslim.
Okay.
They make Sharia.
Many in mainstream media remaining in complete and utter denial about the state of London, the decline of London that's been so sad to see under a Labour mayor. I mean, mainstream media really is making itself look more and more ridiculous, literally by the week.
The idea that you're going to be at greater risk in Tower Hamlets because there's a lots of Muslims there than you might be, let's say you go into a bar in Bury St Edmunds full of, guys who may not necessarily be used to looking to seeing someone like you. Are you really saying you'd be at less of a risk there than you would be in Tower Hamlets? On what basis?
Well, I've been stabbed twice in London. That's
Right.
the basis. There you go.
It's a big city.
So,
Sadly, that happens sometimes.
Well, and at the same time, of course, you've got a Prime Minister who is just going to get more and more desperate in terms of the attacks on reform, because there's absolutely no doubt that Nigel Farage has been very, very clear when it comes to his position, despite claims to the contrary by Labour. I think where reforms stand on this is absolutely clear.
Nigel is the only political leader in this country who has confirmed on air that he would indeed shoot down Russian aircraft if they encroached into NATO airspace. Not a single other political leader said that, nor has Keir Starmer. We are crystal clear at Reform. We need Britain. This is a new era. We totally agree. This is a new world order that is emerging now. Britain must start growing again. We need to rebuild. We need to rebuild our manufacturing capability. We need to rearm, and we need to compete on the global stage. What we are doing at the moment, what we had for 14 years under the Tories and continuing under Labour, is the total gutting and destruction of our manufacturing capability. Trevor, we produce fewer cars today than we did 70 years ago. Not 7 years ago, 70 years ago. Our heavy industrial production is at 35-year lows. How are we going to be a powerful country in 5-10 years' time if we can't produce primary steel, if we can't produce any munitions ourselves? We have had jokes of politicians now for years, and Nigel is the only political leader who's going to change that.
And yet the demented, truly demented attacks being launched by a very desperate Labour government on reform are only going to get more and more demented from here, folks, I guarantee it. But look, we now have a Prime Minister claiming that this is no longer the Britain of the Brexit years anymore. Now, of course, Starmer on the wrong side of all of these arguments, given he campaigned to try and stop Brexit. After people voted for Brexit, he then tried to get people to vote in a second referendum, a truly deranged undertaking. He then vowed to bring back open borders after people had already rejected them. They were going to bring back open borders after Brexit. So you can see just how nutty this agenda is. But Keir Starmer, of course, U-turning, flailing all over the place. What does he actually believe in? Just saying whatever the mood music is of the time to try and win over people's support. This is what the Prime Minister had to say recently.
And as Europe, we must stand on our own 2 feet. Now that means being bolder. It means putting away petty politics and short-term concerns. It means acting together to build a stronger Europe and a more European NATO, underpinned by deeper links between the UK and the EU, across defence, industry, tech, politics, and the wider economy. Because these are the foundations on which our security and prosperity will rest. This is how we'll build a better future for our continent, true to the vibrant, free, and diverse societies that we represent, showing that people who look different to each other can live peacefully together, that this isn't against the tenor of our times. Rather, it's what makes us strong, as we're prepared to defend it with everything that we have. Now, we are not the Britain of the Brexit years anymore, because we know and that is because we know that in a dangerous world, we would not take control by turning inward. We would surrender it. And I won't let that happen. That's why I devote time as Prime Minister to Britain's leadership on the world stage. And that's why I'm here today. Because I am clear, there is no British security without Europe, and no European security without Britain. That is the lesson of history, and is today's reality as well.
Now, I would say once again that puts Keir Starmer and this Labour government very much on the fringes of public opinion. We know in some polls now you're talking about a Labour Party that is down to sort of 4th position, on course to get absolutely obliterated when people are eventually allowed to vote. But I think what you're seeing here is the desperate last moments of a Starmer government that is out of touch, out of time. I think people have actually woken up now to what this Prime Minister and this Labour government truly mean for the country. And the verdict from the people is pretty clear, isn't it?